WeBike Saskatoon is a student-led group that is advocating for better cycling accessibility in Saskatoon. Next slide. Bringing more cyclists up on the streets has many upsides, such as reducing the carbon emissions, minimizing the traffic and noise levels, health benefits. After conducting our survey of almost 300 responses, we found out that people in Saskatoon rated the city cycling infrastructure on average of a 2.2 out of 5. So what we're going to do here in this speech is to outline what is already done well in Saskatoon and how can Saskatoon move forward to a more cycling-friendly future. Next slide. We will focus today on 3 main points: snow removal, cycling network, and signage. Next slide. One of the biggest arguments opposing cycling is that the winter weather is too harsh, but we believe that if the right conditions are created, cycling is possible under almost any circumstances. One great example of this is the capital of Finland, Oulu, that is called the unofficial capital of cycling. The winter conditions are pretty similar to the ones in Saskatoon. The problem is that we have some streets in Saskatoon that are not cleared properly for cyclists. Next slide. But we don't have to go to Finland to see a good example of snow removal because it already exists in Saskatoon, like we can see, for example, on the third use bridge of Cycle Drive or in Spadina Crescent East. Next slide. To solve this, the only thing required is more consistency, for example, through a general policy of snow removal, because the city shows that they already know how it should be done. Next slide. Another problem that we have identified is the safety for cyclists, especially the last few years have been shaken by some tragic accidents. Providing a good infrastructure based on a well-connected and gap-free cycling network will improve safety greatly. We noticed that the city is well aware of how to implement that. For example, the 23rd street downtown, the pilot project bike path, which in itself it's great, but next slide, it is interrupted by a bus terminal. Thus, cyclists are expected to wait behind loading buses and dismount their bikes along the terminal itself. So the question that arises here is why not use 24th Street instead? Next slide. The solution, in other parts of the city, cycling paths are completely missing. For example, on 8th Street, there are many stores and restaurants people go on their daily life, but it does not offer any safe way to cycle there. Next slide. The solution does not need to be creating cycling paths everywhere in the city or those major streets themselves. Most of the times, there are less busy streets parallel to the mainstream street. Making this street cycling friendly by painting bike paths or reducing the limit speed to 30 will improve cycling paths and cyclists will have a safe way to reach all parts of the city. For instance, this is a map that shows a sample network we create based on real cycling data of Saskatoon. Next slide. On some cycling paths throughout the city, there are signage installed. This is a great advancement. Signage is a simple and effective way to direct cyclists along the intended routes. Next slide. But what we are proposing here is not only implementing this throughout the city, but also making this signage more informative. By doing this, we will improve safety and motivate more people to use their bike. Next slide. To conclude, we have identified the following major regions of potential improvement: consistent winter maintenance, connected cycling network, and informative signage. These are the 3 examples WeBike Saskatoon wanted to present here at the City Council and ask for improvement. But there are more problems we cannot talk about in 5 minutes. That's why we have created a cycling vision paths plan with more information that we can share if you would like to. We came here to this meeting not to ask you to reinvent the wheel or, in this case, to reinvent the bicycle, but to see what is already done well and applied consistently to the entire city. We hope that the city considers these suggestions truly, especially under considerations of the pressing climate crisis. The City Council has the power to make Saskatoon a safer, greener, and more active city. Thank you.